I got drunk for the first time when I was 13. I found it to be a release from, just kind of a release from my brain, because I spent so much time stuck in my head and I spent so much time alone, and that pretty much, drinking gave me the ability to be a different person and just lose all that and lose control. I always felt different and I always felt alone, and that was the one thing that made that just turn that switch off. I could just be whoever I wanted to be.
So it all started when I was 12. I had gotten raped when I was younger, and things kind of sort of went downhill from there. I was pretty much getting in trouble all the time. I started out drinking at a young age, smoking weed, doing any kind of drugs, whatever was plausible at the time, whatever was available. And then I just kind of kept going, and it would be on and off all the time.
I got suspended in high school my freshman year for having cigarettes and smoking at school. And then the next year following that, I got suspended for being drunk and drinking at school. And that was my sophomore year. I don't think the school really knew what to do except for to expel me. They gave me an out that they would let me back into school if I completed a rehab or a treatment program. That's what led to me going to treatment at 15. I wish someone would have not so much cared more, but cared what I thought about what I was feeling. Because it was just, hey, you have this problem, you need to go here. Once you get that fixed, you can come back. When I got my first DUI, I knew I kind of sort of had an issue, but all I had to do was not drink as much and then drive, or if I'm gonna drive drunk, try to find a different route or something like that. So when I got my first DUI, it didn't really hit me. It was when I was homeless in Portland is when I knew I had a problem. And there was no doubt in my mind, but I didn't know what to do though. And so I lived in an abandoned factory. It was like an abandoned machine shop. It was pretty lonely. I mean, I spent most of my time just walking around, doing what I do now, exploring abandoned buildings. I felt like a nothing and a nobody. As far as my photography is concerned, I do a lot of shooting in abandoned buildings, abandoned places. You see these buildings that were once these great structures, and now they're broken and abandoned on the inside and on the outside, and that's kind of how I've viewed my life before, and that's kind of why I keep going back to them.
So then I ended up losing my 10-year-old son because of drugs and the people that I was around. So that kind of put a really big damper on me. And I kept going for a while, and I didn't stop for a long time again. And then I just kept being around all the wrong people. And then I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And she kind of saved me there for a little while, and then some things happened, and I ended up getting back on drugs again and lost her due to being on Roxy's and things like that. So there for a really long time, it was really bad. It was really rough.
So pretty much I would drink somewhere between 20 and 30 beers a day. Start out in the morning, go to work, come home, continue. I mean, I would drink at work, on lunch break, just whenever I could. There's a few times where I went to the hospital. There was one time where it was at an Applebee's, and then I passed out on the floor and stopped breathing, and had to get the ambulance out and do the paddles and revive me.
I ended up on heroin, and I overdosed. I actually overdosed, and I was 15 weeks pregnant with my youngest, Legend.
Oh, I know. I took a test, failed, and then they said I had 24 hours to move out. I felt like I had run out of options. I just didn't know what else to do, and I thought suicide was the best option for me. It was the quick and easy way out. And so at that point, I had made up my mind that I was going to kill myself. There was a conference that night that everybody was going to go to, so I was going to be there alone. So I waited for everybody to leave, and then I got out the razor blades and just started cutting away. What ended up happening was somebody was sick and came back from the conference early, and they saw blood running underneath my door.
I don't know if you've ever had one of those dreams where, you know, you feel like you're falling in the dream and then you instantly wake up. That's what dying feels like, but it's not something that you can wake up from.